Hello you guys. So this video, I'm really not sure how I'm going to film this video. It shouldn't be that hard. I think I can do it without crying. Yeah, because I've told this story like 1,001 times, so I'm pretty sure I could do it without crying. Let me start off by saying what prompted me to do this video. I'm trying to go to sleep last night, and I got home from school at like 12 p.m. and all afternoon I was fighting sleep. Fighting not to go to sleep. I was so tired. By the time it was nighttime and it was time for me to go to sleep, I could not sleep to save my life. And I was so frustrated because all day I was trying to stay up because I was so tired. I didn't want to mess up my sleeping schedule. So when it's finally time for me to go to sleep, I could go to sleep. So my brother was just on my mind, something terrible, and he was just running through my mind like crazy, and I just could not understand why. And then I realized that his birthday is coming up. His birthday is like a few days before my birthday, which is the 19th. Please don't leave comments saying, I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry this happened to you. Like, I never really knew how to respond to stuff like that. I don't know if it's just me, but when like people find out that I lose someone or something like that, people often say, sorry for your loss. What are you supposed to say back? Thank you. And it kind of just going to kind of put me back in a slump if I'm saying a bunch of sorry for your loss and sorry for your loss, because it happened 2 years ago and I am still coping from it. But things like that is kind of like sending me backward, not forward. So just like, you can comment, but I don't really know what you would say about this video, honestly. If you are from Baltimore, a lot of people know about the people involved in the situation, about my brother committing suicide. So if you're, this is not going to make sense till later, but if you're a family of the other party or a friend, don't comment. I'm just going to get down to nitty gritty and just explain what happened. I had an older brother. His name is Shaquille, but everyone called him Q. That's why I have a tattoo of a Q, because everyone always asks me that. Everyone called him Q or Shaq. I called him Q. He wasn't my biological brother. He was my cousin, but we were, my family in general, I live in a pretty close family, and a lot of the times, you know, people are raised together in different situations, and I never ever considered him a cousin. For the longest time, I kind of forgot that he was my cousin. I've always called him my brother, and he always called me his sister. When I was younger, he did live with me for a period of time. He was always living with me kind of on and off. So we were raised more so like brother and sister and not like cousins. I'll just explain what happened about 2 weeks before the incident, and then that happened, and then what happened after that. He texts me while I'm at my grandmother's house and tells me that he wants to talk to me. So I'm like, okay, like, I'll talk to you when I get home. So I'm home and I'm in my room, and he comes upstairs, and every time I see him, I was always so excited because he was just a type of person. He always makes you laugh. Like, if you know him, he was hilarious. Like, he always would make you laugh. If you knew him, you know that he was just like really playful, really full of love, regardless of whatever he was going through personally. He was a happy person on the outside. So he comes to my room, and I'm like, okay, what do you want to talk about? And he's like, well, sis, I got chlamydia. He basically just gave it to him like, I got chlamydia. And I instantly caught an attitude because my brother, he was a thought, not even gonna lie. He was like a male thought. He was about bitches. He always was fucking off, like doing him. So when and I never liked it, like being his sister, and I would see him talk to girls and stuff like that. I hated it. Like, I hated it so much, especially the girls that he would go on after, because he wasn't the type to like girlfriends. He was more so, I want to fuck you and then that's it. Like, he was that type of guy. So I caught an attitude, and I'm just like, what bitch then gave you this shit, and like, why are you fucking off? He told me why he thought he had it. He was like, something wasn't right. I went to the doctors. They said I had chlamydia. I took the medicine. Everything's good now. And he was basically saying, moral of the story, sis, is, you know, I want you to be careful out here because this shit don't, his exact words was, this shit don't got a face on it. Anybody that you have sex with, it could be HIV, it could be AIDS, it could be anything worse than chlamydia. And he was telling me to be careful, and he was saying that he was, you know, so upset because at the time when he got it, he had 3 sexual partners. So he said, I don't know which one of them gave it to me, and I could really never know because I'm having sex with 3 girls at one time. So after that, I was like, I'm hungry. He's like, yeah, I heard I was 16, so I had just got my first credit card. He was like, yeah, I heard you got a card now. You gonna buy me some food? And I'm like, no, you gonna buy me some food. So we leave out the house and we walk up to McDonald's, and McDonald's was closed. We walked next door to Popeyes, and we went in and got our food from Popeyes or whatever. We go across the street to the gas station, and he buys something to drink and shit, and then we start walking back home. While we walking home, you know, he daps up his homeboys or whatever, and I'm pretty sure he made a sale while I was right there, because he was also dealing drugs. So, but I don't know, I just kind of walked ahead of him. But we get down to my house, and even though he wasn't living with me anymore, he lived right down the street from my house. So we get to the house, and he said, all right, sis, I love you, and he gave me a hug. I went in my house, and he walked about his business, and that was just that. I didn't think that that was going to be the last time that I saw him. 2 weeks later, and I wake up in the morning, and I'm getting ready for work. And when I wake up, I noticed that my mom wasn't home, and I'm like, nobody was in my house now that I think of it. Everyone in my house was gone. So I'm like, okay, I just finished getting ready for work like normal. I'm calling my mom, and she's not answering. So my mom's cold. I really didn't think nothing of it. I thought my mommy just went to drop my siblings off at summer camp early or something. I really didn't think anything of it. I get a call from my mother's coworker, and she was like, Kenise, with everything that's going on right now, your mom, just let your mom know she doesn't have to come into work today. Everything is fine. So I was like, Angel, what are you talking about? She was like, oh, you don't know? And I was like, no, what? She's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be the one to tell you. And I'm like, okay. So I hang up, and I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing, baby. She kind of had that voice like something was wrong, but she didn't want to tell me. But I kind of always know when something is wrong. But I'm thinking like it really wasn't that serious. How my dad probably got into it. I didn't think anything of it. I finished getting dressed or whatever, and I go downstairs, and I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to be late for work. So eventually my mom pulls up, and as she pulling up, I can hear her coming outside. So I'm opening the door to try to rush out to hurry up and get in the car, because I didn't want to be late for work. And as I'm walking out, I see all of them coming in the house. It's my mom, my older sister, my younger sisters, and yeah, my sister and I worked together, but she wasn't dressed for work. So when I saw that she wasn't dressed for work, I just knew that something was wrong, and I knew it was going to be bad. So they come in the house, and they're all looking at me, and we're sitting on a couch. Not be difficult. I should brought some tissue in here. Okay. Try to get myself together. I wasn't expecting to cry. Like, I tell this story like all the time, but I don't know. So I'm sitting on a couch, and everybody, they're like looking at me. It was like whatever the news was, it was going to affect me or was about me. So automatically I'm thinking whoever, I already knew that somebody was dead, so, or something really bad. So whoever it was, I'm assuming that it was somebody that was only related to me, like my father's side of the family maybe, or I don't know, or a friend or something. So my mom's holding my younger sister, but the baby. My stepsister is sitting next to me, and she's holding her child, and then my other sister is like sitting in there too, and then my grandmother eventually comes downstairs. So they just all look at me, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm just looking at them. My mom exact words, she just said, Shaquille, and then she paused, and that pause, it was a quick pause. It was like, Shaquille is gone. But like between the time when she said is gone, I thought like when she said Shaquille, before she could say like is gone, I don't know, I just automatically assumed jail. But I don't know, it was like once she said it and her eyes teared up, I realized when she said gone, she meant gone, gone. So I just like started crying hysterically. Like, I don't know who grabbed me, because my first intention was to run out the house. And like, I don't know if I was going to run to his house or run up the street. I don't know where the fuck I was going, but my first intention was to just run out of the house. While I'm crying, my mom is holding me and she's saying, you know, it's going to be okay. And I just could not understand, like, I'm just thinking, like, you know, I live in Baltimore City. If you from Baltimore or you know anything about Baltimore, you know it's dangerous. And I knew the type of lifestyle that he lived, so I'm just thinking like somebody shot him. Like, it's just another Baltimore person that got shot. I'm crying more and more, and Dejanay comes in the house eventually, and she's like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I'm still crying, and my sister was like, Shaquille died. And she's like, oh my god, and she just started like hugging on me and stuff. So as I'm crying, I'm like leaning on the couch like this, and I'm crying, and she's talking to my sister about what happened and everything. So as I'm crying, I'm hearing the story at the same time. I heard it was another girl, they found her naked, he slit her throat. So as they saying this, I'm like, okay, my brother then got into some stuff with the wrong girl, the wrong thought, something happened, like. And I'm just like, he just got, what the fuck, my eyelashes, okay, we just gonna let them come off, we just gonna take these off. He was on pretty loose. After that, I'm just thinking like, but wait a minute, that's not telling me how he died. So I'm listening more and more, and I just can't remember saying he better not have committed suicide, like he better not committed suicide, because my biological father committed suicide when I was 6. So my brother was dead during that period, because around the time that my brother committed suicide, his mother died probably a year later, if that, months later, I don't know. I just remember it being around the same time period, and we were there for each other. So I feel like anybody that was close to me, period, know how that affected me when my father committed suicide. So I just kept thinking, like, if he did this, like, what the fuck? Eventually I just stayed, and then he shot himself, and I just, like, I don't even know, like, it was just fucking terrible. Like, it was the worst. So now I'm like, he didn't kill some girl, he killed himself. I don't know what the fuck happened. Some thought that made him mad. I was just mad, and I was blaming it all on the girl, because I'm just like, I know my brother, he's not a bad person. He's not going to do something like this unless he has nothing is a legitimate reason to kill someone, you know, or kill yourself for that matter. But, you know, I knew it had to be something crazy, and I was pretty much putting it on the girl. That weekend, we were supposed to go to a hotel, me and my sisters and my mom, and no, actually it was just me and my sister. And we were going to a hotel that weekend, and we ended up going out as a family. So we go to my sister's house, and we picking up her stuff. So we riding in the car, and we're on our way to grab some more stuff on our way to the hotel. And I'm in the front seat, and my sister was like, here's the girl that he killed right here. I'm like, let me see. So she passed me the phone. When I saw the picture of the girl that he killed, I broke down all over again, because the girl that he killed was my friend. So at that point, I was just in shock. I felt guilty because I introduced them to each other when I was in the 8th grade. This situation happened the summer before my junior year. So I introduced them to each other like 2.5 years before. I had no idea that they even kept in contact with each other. And that girl was my age. My brother at the time, he was 18 years old. I believe he was 19 years old actually. So he was 19 and the girl was only 16, like me. And the type of person that I knew she wasn't a bad girl. She wasn't a thot. She wasn't out there. From me, of course, people change in high school, but it's only but so much. Maybe she grew up, but I don't see her changing to turn into like a thot or whatever. She was always like boy crazy, like even when we were in middle school. But it wasn't boy crazy like having sex. She was a virgin. She was like most 8th graders. You know, I was boy crazy. She was like, oh my god, he's so cute. But she was the one that's, oh my god, he's so cute, but would never have sex with anybody. Or, oh my god, I want him to be my boyfriend. And oh my god, I want to do this. It's like those type of girls who are kind of out there with guys, but they don't have sex. Like, they don't want to have sex. They don't give head and stuff like that. They just like guys and they're into guys. They just don't really take it all the way. She was a good girl. So at that point, we stopped the car and my mom just starts breaking down, because my mom is a Baltimore City public school teacher. So she constantly has to deal with deaths of the youth in Baltimore City growing up as a Baltimore City teacher. So she, at that point, my mom broke down too, because, you know, she remember when a girl stayed the night over my house, and she, just when young people die in Baltimore period, that does something to my mom, because she has to be around young people all the time. She does youth work on the summer, and during the school year she works at a Baltimore City public school, so she's constantly losing youth, and it's just, she broke down at that point. After that, I was really just in shock, and the next couple of days were like really hard for me. I'm like shivering. I'm really shivering. The next days were like really hard for me. I remember, you know, like the next day, me crying was so bad. It was like we went out to eat and I got so upset at myself because I was crying so much that I excused myself to go to the bathroom at the restaurant with my family to cry, because I felt like, you know, they were thinking in their heads like, okay, why is she still crying? Like, not necessarily get over it, but it's not that serious. And I've always known that I loved him, but I didn't realize that this would have such an effect on me until he was gone. I always knew that I loved him a lot, you know, and we didn't even see each other that much because he was in the streets. He was all over the place. You kind of see him when you see him. You might see him walking down the street. You might see him at the corner store. He'll stop by the house. You know, you see him when you see him. He didn't have a consistent phone for me to text every day, so we didn't talk that often. But this really affected me. So I was doing a lot of crying. And I know mornings were the worst, because going to sleep at night I was kind of okay. But in the mornings, it was like, I would wake up and for a split second I would be okay, and then I would remember what happened. So every morning for the next week was like waking up and hearing the news all over again, because when you're asleep, you're kind of, that's your unconscious mind working. So when you're asleep, you're not conscious of what's going on really in reality. So for a split second when you wake up, I'm thinking everything is okay, and then it hits me. So, you know, every morning it will always come when I'm brushing my teeth, and that's when I would, you know, get back into reality and remember I'm at a hotel, why am I here? Like, everything would just play back in my head. This was around the time when Ask.fm was really popular, and I got a lot of really hurtful things in my ask box about the situation, because when people found out that I knew him and her, that was really hard for me, because a lot of people were they either knew him and they were on his side, but most of Baltimore, she went to a really popular Baltimore City public school. So her picture was all over Instagram. But my mom kind of made me get off social media for a few days, because she didn't want me to have to deal with those hurtful comments. When, you know, people were either on her side and was looking at him as a monster, people were on his side, you know, feeling sorry for the other family. But me dealing with it from both ends, it was the worst. Like, so people were sending me messages in my ask box like, why did he kill her? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, why is it people, I don't fucking know what I wasn't there. I still don't know. Nobody knows exactly what happened. We just know what we're told. It was rumors in the reports about what happened, and then it was the truth. I'll tell you what the report said and what really happened from what I know so far. Like, what I know for facts. Yeah, one of the main things that a lot of people don't know, they said that they only known each other for a few days, and I know for a fact that that's not true, because he was living with me when she stayed the night at my house. We all went out together, we went down the harbor together, like, so he was with me. Like, they known each other for years. So I know a lot of people think like they only known each other for a few days. That is not true. They known each other for years. I just didn't know that they kept in contact with each other. And people are saying basically he raped her because she wouldn't have sex with him. Some people are saying he was mad because she wouldn't leave her boyfriend for him, and that's why he raped her and split her throat. The whole part about him raping and killing her because she wouldn't leave her boyfriend, I can say for a fact that's not true, because my brother doesn't do girlfriends. I know him, he doesn't do girlfriends. So the whole sex thing, I don't know how true that is, because he fuck bitches on a day-to-day basis. So for him to feel the type of way that this one girl would not have sex with him and then to kill her for that reason, that just doesn't make sense to me. So I'll tell y'all the story from what people who were actually there. I'll tell you what they told me, what my brother told me. Not that brother, but my other brother. He was there. I'll tell you what he told me, and then I'll tell you what I've gotten from that information. It was my brother Q, my brother Dominic, and the boy Eric. They kind of always hung together. They all were like brothers. They said all day that my brother Q was trying to get in contact with her. They don't know why. They just know that all day he was trying to get in contact with her. Now on her end, she got a call, and I'm guessing it was him. And whatever the call was, it upset her, and she stormed off and left. And her brother saying, come back, where are you going? But she was so upset that she left. And that was the last time they saw her before they found her dead. So I'm guessing, of course, she went to go meet him. But we don't know what he said to her on the phone to make her so upset that she would leave. My brother comes in the house covered in grass, and he says, I just made a deal with the devil. And he grabs a knife. He leaves back out. They say he comes back 5 minutes later and says goodbye. Like, he says goodbye to my aunt. And he said goodbye to my aunt, and then he was like, go look in the drop. The drop was like where she was at. It was their little spot that they used to smoke at or whatever. He left back out. So they all, them two, they're looking at each other like, what the fuck? Like, what just happened? So they walk over there, and who walked forward? I think Eric walked forward because Dominic was scared to look. So Eric was like, I don't know which one of them walked forward, but one of them was like, yo, I'm not looking in there. So one of them walked forward and was like, oh my God, and he came back. And eventually the police come to the house, or the father or something, and they had to go to homicide to view a body. And the body was my brother, because they said he shot himself. So they went to homicide, they identified the body, this, that, and the third. So after all of this, I really don't understand just the story. He's not gonna lie to me, but something is just not making sense. So what we kind of put together in our head was basically, when my brother told me he had chlamydia, he was lying. He really had HIV, because I didn't know until after he died. He told my mother that he had HIV, and he told my mother that he thought he had HIV and told me that he had chlamydia. So he really must have had HIV. So apparently, I think that he thought that she gave it to him. My mother thinks that he tried to call and tell her like, yo, I got this, you might have it too. And she was upset, and she thought he was upset because he thought, you know, if I have it and you have it, let's just be together forever type of thing. And when she said no, that was why he raped and killed her. And that just don't sound right to me. I don't really know. I just really don't know. But after all of this, at the day of the funeral, we found out that my brother was molested when he was younger, which I didn't know his whole life that he was molested. So it's kind of, it's one of those things where, like, you know, you were raped, so you kind of rape. You were abused, so you abuse. You were bullied, so you bully. It's that type of thing. So things just started to unfold. The day of his funeral, and that was probably the hardest part out of everything. The day of his funeral was the worst day of my life, hands down, because it's like I knew it was true, but at the same time, you don't accept stuff like that until you see it. And we get to the back of the hall, and I just see his body all the way from the back, and I just break down at the funeral. I'm like I was crying so bad. It was bad. Like, I didn't even get to make it into the chapel for at least 5 minutes because my mom was holding me. Everybody just holding me. My knees were weak. Like, that's how bad the pain was to be there. Like, it was so bad. Like, and I'm trying to, it took me probably to get from the back of the chapel all the way up into the front row. It took me 15 to 20 minutes to walk down a fucking aisle because my knees were literally weak. I could not walk. Like, my mother was helping me. I sat down for a second. My grandmother tried to calm me down. I just could not deal with it. It hurt so bad. Like, it was terrible. And I finally get to the front and whatever, and you know, they go about the sermon, everyone's viewing the body. I don't think I went up and viewed the body, and if I did, I did go up and view the body. But I remember wanting to kiss him, but I was scared because I've never touched a dead body before, and I know that they take all of the organs and shit out and they fill it up, the body, like it's filled up with something, and I was scared that his face was going to feel hard. The side that he shot himself on, it was like kind of swollen a little bit. It looked like a little weird right there, like kind of like he fell on his head and got a hickey. And just seeing that, it hurt really, really bad. Like, it was a really, really bad pain, and I just couldn't understand like why this was happening. And I just remember, I just kept thinking back to the last time that I saw him, and I just was like, you know, I never would have thought that my next time seeing you would be in a casket. Throughout the funeral, I got better, you know, and I did end up dancing with my best friend, and we danced at his funeral. And you know, after that we had the repast, and it was easier after that, you know. But you would think that when something like this happens, that over time the pain like goes away or like it gets less, but it really doesn't. Like, it will never be as bad as the day of his funeral, but like going on every day is like really going on every day and try to live like normal is like really hard, especially since, you know, I don't really know exactly what happened that night. Nobody will ever know exactly what happened. These are all just theories that we come up with trying to, you know, move on. But it's really hard to move on when you don't understand something. It's crazy to me, because when my biological dad committed suicide, yeah, I cried and stuff, and I don't know if it was because I was younger, but the pain that I feel from this compared to that is so much worse. And this is not even my biological brother, like this is really my cousin, but it hurts really, really bad. And it's really hard. Like, I got him tattooed on my 18th birthday. My other brother Dominic, he got me this necklace on my graduation with his face on it. Like, when people die, I know, I just can't think of all the times where we were together that I wish I would have took pictures of us together, or all the times that I wish I wouldn't have deleted our messages thinking like, oh, I'm not going to need these later, why am I saving these messages? And just like all the time that I commented on a picture or just anything, and it's just like I wish that I would have kept those things, because I never knew that now I would like do anything to have pictures from when we were younger, and like pictures from just stuff like that, videos and just things that I will never have. So like over time, it just like I said, it doesn't really get easier. You just kind of learn to deal with it and just move on, because when someone dies, it's like they're not coming back. Like, you don't really move on. Like, well, with my therapist so much, and my mom is telling me, you know, I have to deal with it and move on. But in a sense, I don't want to get over the situation, because I kind of feel like people are forgetting. Like, and like everyone that posts pictures of her, it's like, oh my God, rest in peace. But some of those people really have to wake up like her mother has to wake up every morning and know that her daughter is gone. Her best friend, her cousin, her sister, people like that have to wake up every morning and have to remember like that they're gone. And then there was those other people that post a picture because they knew them and was like, oh, rest in peace. And then they just move on with those like their lives. But it's like, it's really hard to move on. It just sucks. So I'm doing this story time because, you know, it's a part of my life. Like, this is what I do on YouTube. I tell you guys what my life is about, like how I tell y'all stories and stuff. But this was probably one of the hardest stories I will ever had to tell. Like, it was just really hard. And I often get advice, because I told you guys that you could send me stuff for advice. I often, all the time, get messages on Instagram, especially Twitter, and sometimes on Snapchat, about people in relationship problems, and people don't realize seeing me every day or seeing anybody every day, the battles that they constantly face just to wake up in the morning, and the things that run through their mind when they go to sleep. Like, when I'm going throughout the day, I don't have to think about this stuff. I'm at school, I'm at work, I'm doing things. But to wake up in the morning and I have to remember that he's not here, and then going to sleep at night and just having that shit run through my head and try to figure out what happened and why it happened, that's just stuff that you don't think about seeing the next person. So I just want everybody to know that you really never know what someone is going through, and like, losing someone, it hurts like shit. Like, it hurts. And I could give you advice about almost anything, but when it comes to losing someone, I honestly don't know how to get past it. Like, people will say like, oh, they're in a better place. What the fuck does that mean? Hawaii is a better place. If my mother moved to Hawaii, you think I'm going to be happy and I'm here? Yes, Hawaii is a better place, but she not with me, so what difference does it make? I would rather us be in this worst place together or me be there with you. So saying they're in a better place, that doesn't help. Saying he's always in your heart, what the fuck does that mean? Like, it's just things that, you know, and I know people are not trying to be rude when they say these things, but they think it's going to make you feel better, but it really doesn't, because he's not in a better place. Actually, he is in a better place. I'm not in a better place because I should be with him. I had to deal with this growing up, and I hated it, hated it, hated it. When people tell me, this was before my brother died, this was when my dad, when people found out that my dad committed suicide, they say, oh, he's going to hell. You are not God. You don't know where anybody is going. Second of all, if that's how you feel, you keep that shit in your head. You don't tell somebody that their loved one is going to hell. I don't know how religious y'all are, but I'm pretty religious. There is Judgment Day, which is where you go before he tells you where you going to heaven or hell. You don't just go straight there. So instead of saying, you know, like, you'll see him in heaven, at least say you'll see him on Judgment Day, because that's when God, you have to stand before God, and you know, you have to go through all the shit that you did in your life, and he's going to tell you like, oh, you're going to heaven or hell. And something my mom told me that made me feel better, because they say you're going to hell if you commit suicide, because that's the one thing that you can't ask forgiveness for. I can understand why you can say that, but when you physically die, your spirit and your soul is still living. So just because you're physically dead and you can't open your eyes and talk to someone in front of you, your spirit is still alive. Your soul is still alive. So you can still ask for forgiveness. Like, and at the end of all of that, even if you can't ask for forgiveness, God knows your heart. So people think that being a nice person, oh, she's going to go to heaven, or being a bad person, he was killing people his whole life, so that means he's going to hell, or oh, she was in church, so that means she's going to heaven. No, neither one of those things are going to get you into heaven. Getting into heaven is up to you if you accept Jesus in your heart. That's it. Like, all that other shit, it don't matter. Going to church every Sunday. I've been in private school my whole life. Does that mean that I'm going to heaven? No, I got saved when I was in the 1st grade. That's why I'm going to heaven. Like, things, people just don't understand the whole going to heaven. It doesn't boil down to stuff like that. Like, suicide is wrong, but you never understand what it feels like to feel like you have no need to be living on this earth anymore. Like, I honestly have never been to the point where I've wanted to commit suicide. I've been pretty low. So being pretty low, I can't even imagine what people who can actually put a gun to their head feel like. I've never been at the point where I feel like I have no point of being here. I always feel like, you know, eventually there is a brighter day, no matter what the fuck I'm going through. But just think about your lowest point, and can you imagine someone being lower than that and feeling like they have no reason to live anymore? As always, I love you guys so very much. Like, y'all really make me happy. You guys make me super happy. So make sure you just like this video and follow me on my social media, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all that, the KCK official.